is the Big O Show. This 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 is the Big O Show.
There's just one place where you can drive the new 2025 Acura Integra for only $289 a month. The Customer Appreciation Sale at Acura of Pembroke Pines. Thank you for making us number one.
Oh, great. You have a doorbell camera. Now you have a front row seat to your house getting robbed.
They're breaking into my house!
Ooh, there goes the TV. I'm sure it'll turn up at the pawn shop.
No, not the TV!
Just because you can see them, that doesn't mean you can stop them. With Slogans, you get 24-hour monitoring, a free home security system, and professional installation. Plus, free doorbell camera, one that'll actually work for you.
Get out of my house!
Get out of the house! Call 1-800-ALARM-ME.
For over 16 years, EJDconstruction.com has provided South Florida residents quality craftsmanship, accurate project management, and exceptional service. That's why EJDconstruction.com is an A-rated member of Angie's List and the Better Business Bureau. When you're looking for the right custom home builder for additions or home remodeling, please call my friend Eric at 305-433-4843. That's 305-433-4843 for EJDconstruction.com.
There's just one place where you can drive the new 2025 Acura RDX for only $399 a month. The Customer Appreciation Sale at Acura of Pembroke Pines. Thank you for making us number one.
It starts every morning before the sun comes up. Projects are laid out. Plans are made. Equipment is fueled and loaded with inventory to handle all service requests. Orders are given to an army of skilled landscape maintenance professionals, certified arbor trimmers, irrigation technicians, and licensed pest management experts who fan out to communities and businesses all over South Florida. Experienced, on time, and dependable. Our staff is fully trained, licensed, and insured. Contact us by phone, email, social media, or through our website to answer all your landscape questions. We are Cutter's Edge. Total Landscape Solutions.
Hi, this is Jeff Welt from Welton Rayom. Dan and I have been in business together for over 22 years. We're not your typical lawyers. When Dan's not working in the office, he's flying his stunt plane. When I'm not in the office, I'm either getting tattooed, bowling, riding a motorcycle, or going to concerts. We might not be your typical attorneys, but we are aggressive attorneys, and we'll do whatever it takes to get you what you deserve. Consultations are always free. Call us anytime, 24/7.
Welton Rayom can help. We're celebrating a new year with new savings at Toyota of Hollywood, the official #1 volume Toyota dealer. Save big on a 24 Corolla, not $24,000, $17,988. Buy with 0% financing, 0 down. We're bringing you deals that strike fast and hard at the #1 volume Toyota dealer, Toyota of Hollywood, on 441 between Hollywood Boulevard and Sheridan Street. Open till midnight.
When it comes to your smile, confidence is so important. At Moody S Dental, they provide the services to get your smile back. This family-run practice prides itself by offering the latest technology to give your family the best experience possible. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years with offices in Hialeah and Plantation. They accept most major dental insurances. They provide free new patient exams, 20% off select treatments. To qualify, please follow us on Instagram at moodys.dental. Moody S Dental has been in business for over 30 years. To schedule an appointment in Hialeah, call 305-821-0231 and Plantation 954-692-6825. From Invisaligns, dental implants, same-day crowns, and the preventative care and preservation to get your smile back. Go to moodysdental.com to find out more and tell them Big O sent you.
There's just one place where you can take $10,000 off the 2025 Acura MDX. The Customer Appreciation Sale at Acura of Pembroke Pines. Thank you for making us #1.
After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
When it comes to selling your home, efficiency is the best way, the less stress way. That's why Asmani Garcia and the Omega Home Realty Group is who you want to call. Sell your home for just $990. That's right, $990. No 6% commission. Asmani and Omega are the exclusive program director for just $990 in South Florida. Get full service real estate services like pro photos, beautiful brochures, Zillow and Alex, Realtor.com and Homes.com listings. Call Asmani to find out more at 305-440-1990. Scan the QR code or visit just990.com to get started. Omega Home Realty Group and Asmani Garcia are ready to present your home to thousands of prospective buyers. Call 305-440-1990. Call Asmani Garcia and tell him Big O sent you.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
There's just one place where you could drive a new Acura ZDX for only $239 a month. The Customer Appreciation Sale at Acura of Pembroke Pines. Thank you for making us #1.
If you're looking to take your home or business to the next level, then RM Contractors and Custom Drywall can assist you. RM specializes in new residential turnkey, new commercial turnkey, home and office remodeling. Call them for free estimates. Serving all of South Florida, licensed and insured. Call Ray or Mike, 305-345-3649. You work hard to create the perfect atmosphere. You dream it, we'll build it. RM Contractors and Custom Drywall, 305-345-3649. Or Instagram at RMC Fisher Island.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. comes to South Florida sports teams, very few in the media have witnessed, lived, and covered it like the Big O. Let's start the program dedicated to your favorite South Florida teams with a passion that's unmatched. The Big O Radio Show is on. Here's the Big O.
Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome aboard. It is Friday. You made it. I made it. We're here. The weekend is here. Looking forward to it. Got a loaded weekend. Got all kinds of things to do. Man. There we go. All right. Oh, let's see. We got David Furones, as always, and Manny Navarro will join us here on the program. We got some stuff to talk about, sports-wise. Definitely got to, I'll get in. This will be the last show where we'll have a little crypto segment because I'll bring back the Crypto Bro Show next week. My voice, I think, is back, and I can do the 2 shows a day. So I will go ahead and add it next week and expect the Crypto Bro Show to come back in full strength since my voice is pretty much back. I think it's lasted for the couple of hours, the last couple of days. So we've been all right. I think we're kind of we've overcome in a week. We've overcome the cold. Was it Monday that I couldn't even finish the show, or was it this week? Was that last week? That was last week, right? Yeah. So a little over a week, and we're gone. And that thing is out of the system, which is a beautiful thing. A beautiful thing. I like it. Normally they don't stay very long with me, which is I'm fortunate in that sense that I can get rid of it, but. We've got Furones and Navarro joining us today. Obviously, we'll talk about our Canes Wear Miami Hurricanes report. We'll get into the BigCheeseMiami.com NIL and recruiting report. A lot of visitors this week for Miami. So that NIL report should be juicy for you Canes fans out there. Panthers got it done last night against the Blue Jackets. Nova Southeastern got it done against Tampa, University of Tampa, Inter Miami over Cavalier FC. Oh, that goal they reversed on Cavalier FC in the first half, right at the end of the first half. Man, that was I've seen offsides called even closer than that one. You know, I probably wouldn't have called it, but still, it would have been 2-1, whatever. It is what it is, you know. But I'm thinking about this now. It's a home and home. Man, I don't know if Messi's going to play because he didn't play the last couple of games and he's injured. But Messi going over to Jamaica to play at Cavalier FC's home stadium, which I think seats 3,000. Those are 3,000 special tickets. All right, because even if Messi doesn't play, Suarez is still there, and Busquets and Alba, you know, and so it's still world-class players coming to, you know, Jamaica next week. So I'm about to sneeze. I'm trying to hold it in. So it's kind of interesting that it must be a crazy, crazy time. People getting tickets, well, hoping that Messi plays. So I don't know. Did you see what I tweeted out yesterday about Inter Miami, Sean? I mean, I don't care. I just threw it out there. It's, you know, it's news because I don't think anybody put it out there, right?
I didn't see it. I did not see it. No.
QAM dumped them.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
I had not heard them running anything on it but I've been in the car. I'm not in the car all the time, so I didn't just thought it as. But they don't talk about them as much.
Yeah, QAM officially dumped Inter Miami yesterday. Yeah. They told other employees and everything. It was kind of in the works already, but the Messi madness has died out, bro. They were selling tickets for the CONCACAF. I think I saw like $15 or $20 or something. Did I see that right?
Oh, probably. I got 2 tickets, $40 a piece, 4 rows up, right behind the goal, on the corner side. The last CONCACAF when they won Sporting KC.
There were empty seats yesterday.
There's all empty seats, especially once I think they announced. But they didn't announce he wasn't playing until almost an hour before the game, so a lot of people weren't going anyways. Yeah,
it was going to be empty anyways, whether he played or not. There was going to be a bunch of empty seats.
Yeah, and I'm trying to confirm, but I believe Cavalier actually moved it to their national stadium, which seats 30,000.
Okay,
but I'm trying to confirm. I saw a note on that.
That would make sense.
Earlier, but I want to make sure before.
No, that probably makes sense. I didn't know if they moved it or not, but I know I read the Cavalier, which has a very rich history, by the way. Cavalier has a very rich history on their own there in Jamaica. But I know that their stadium seats 3,000. So I'm like, are they playing there? You know, it's like,
no, that would have been a great seat.
They would move it to whatever the biggest stadium in Jamaica.
That's called National Stadium in Kingston, Jamaica. Right now, I'm checking it to see what it holds.
Wouldn't make sense because the Reggae Boys are an attraction. So
35,000 it holds.
Yeah, and track and field.
Yeah, that's where they actually do the track and field. That's the picture that they show is actual track and field. So
I would love to go to Jamaica for one of the track and field competitions when it's the international competitions. They do the tours, and Jamaica is one of the stops. That would be a great time to go to Jamaica for the track and field competition. So that would make sense if they move it to the big stadium. But anyway, so QAM dumps them, and it's interesting that this is kind of not worked out for the Moss brothers in that sense. And, you know, kind of hate to say I told you so, but I told you so. And so when I years ago when they started, I started on-side radio with them because I gave Jorge Mas the idea of, hey, you should not go to a radio station. You're going to be the red-headed stepchild. You're not going to have number one status on there. They're going to bump you. You're, you know, all that kind of stuff. You're never really going to find a real home. Plus, we're not going in that direction. Radio's dying. Create your own online, and then everybody will be able to hear it at home, away, because the internet is everywhere, in cars and televisions, on phones, which is what they should have continued. But they put no money into it. They didn't help us out at all, and it was a disaster. We actually did pretty damn good considering the lack of resources, I got to say. Considering the lack of resources, we came up with a ton of content, a lot of good people, a different way of doing radio. But they had no, and if you go to games now, like some people tell me, the in-game experience is dog shit. There's nothing for the kids to do. The Moss family does a beautiful job of the player acquisition, the team part of it. The rest, they're terrible. They're terrible how they handle the stadium. They're terrible how they handle the broadcast. They're terrible how they handle the fans, everything. And they don't get it also, as I've talked about this. You can have this messy stuff, and that's fun, dude. But that shit's going to come and go. And the only people walking through those gates are people that are just interested to see Messi, and then they leave, and they don't give a shit about your team. And you are making no connection with South Florida. You are hiring fucking mercenaries. You're trying to win a championship, and it blew up in your face last year, by the way, because last year is a outright disaster for Inter Miami. It's an embarrassment, my brothers and sisters out there. Okay? Moss and Messi and everybody, they look like jackasses last year, getting eliminated in the first round after spending all that money and having the greatest roster in the history of the league, the greatest record in the history of the league, the best team in the history of the league, and your sorry ass couldn't get out of the first round. So you didn't build shit. Go look at the Panthers. I will argue that soccer is bigger than hockey in the United States of America. How do you like them apples? International soccer gets way more attention than hockey ever will in this country. Ever. Ever. And yet the Panthers are kicking Inter Miami's ass in every way possible. Because it's their talent. They're not hiring mercenaries, international mercenaries that really don't give a shit about the team. They're just here to cash a check, and that's it. I'm just saying, as I said before, they screwed up. They didn't want to build their own radio station. Now you find yourself bopping around all over the place because you just didn't want to really invest the goddamn money and make your own station and make your own mark. And by the way, with Messi, you have an opportunity to make it internationally and locally, like enormous, and you control all the revenue. Stupid, just idiotic shit. And then the other idiotic shit is you don't focus on developing local. You need to have somebody next to Messi that is your guy. So if Kremasky's not good enough, or put him there, find somebody. But develop somebody that is going to stay here for the next 10 years. Not somebody you're going to sell, somebody you can market that becomes the face of Inter Miami for the next 10 to 15 years so a generation grows up. A generation has grown up with Barkov. And now it's led to Kachuk, and it's going to lead to Lundell, and it's going to lead to some other guys. And that's kind of the way it goes. But if you want to keep doing the mercenary bullshit, you're only going to get the international fans that are going to come in and out, and they don't care because you're going to get, some Argentine fan because you got an Argentine player, an Ecuadorian fan, or a Uruguayan fan, or whatever it is. And then when their player is gone, they're gone too. So you're not making any connection Inter Miami with South Florida at all. Everybody treats you like what you are. You just hire mercenaries. Oh, are you guys playing or not today? Oh, is Messi playing or not? That's the thing too, right? You don't even know if Messi's going to play or not. So you're in risk of paying a bunch of money and not seeing Messi. And by the way, what's the other thing I've told you? Why do you have all these extravagant preseasons where you're traveling all over the place and the guy's traveling all over? Bro, he's an old player. He shouldn't be doing shit in the preseason except training at home and not even traveling and keep him fresh for the regular season. But yet they do all this bullshit in the preseason for a couple years in a row. And when he got here, the first half year, they burned his ass out because it's just a money grab. There's no real connection. None. Inter Miami makes no real connection with South Florida at all. This mercenary bullshit approach, it's not paying off for you. You're not building long-term relationships with your fans. The second Messi leaves, they're going to disappear because you built shit. Because once Messi's gone, they're gone. And that's it. And then you got to go buy what? Another mercenary? That's not how it goes, dude. I see more enthusiasm from yeah, mother effer. I just pulled out a Fusion shirt on your ass. I fit in all my old shirts now. All my extra larges I fit in nowadays. But it's what what Ray Hudson did and his players, the way they connected with South Florida, Inter Miami has yet to do. Your coaches never speak. They can't connect to the public. It's the press conferences are handled like top secret crap. You know, it just, you pick coaches that don't speak the language. Ray Hudson could sell oil to Arabs, ice to Eskimos. That's what you need here, dude. You need to sell the sport so you could grow a connection. And you can't connect with a radio station. You can't connect with your fans. You don't connect with your employees. I'm just telling you, man, you guys are doing it all wrong because you're doing it on a pure money grab. And you're not laying down the foundation for a real connection with South Florida fans on a long-term basis. So if you want the hit and run approach, look at it. Look at last night. Should have been sold out. And it's not. And you're now seeing games that have all kinds of seats because of what you've done with Messi, because it's all or nothing. And now you're counting on a really old player and you're taxing him with all those games. I'm sorry, man, but it's poorly run from top to bottom. They have all the right intentions because Moss wants to win and they'll spend money. I mean, but haven't we noticed that Stephen Ross, Jorge Mas, we're watching the guys that can spend the money, but they really don't know how to put it all really together. Isn't it interesting? Isn't that interesting? Right? It's kind of like they have the resources, but they don't really know how to put it all together. We have two owners that easily can be great owners. They are great owners on the revenue side, right? They'll spend, but they haven't gotten it right. You know what I'm saying? And it's interesting. Now you look at, Viola and Sifu, and they got it right. I look at all this and it's just, oh man, what can I tell you? Anyway, they did beat Cavalier yesterday, 2-0. Suarez in the 83rd minute, Yande in the 61st minute. So we'll see what happens. Sunday, they take on Charlotte at Chase Stadium at 4:00. But yeah, they got some issues there. There's no doubt about that. They got some issues. Panthers got it done. And Bob, I got to tell you, he kept it clean last night, 3-0. And when you keep it clean, you belong in our Keeping It Clean segment.
Let's find out who's keeping it clean. Who shut out who kept their opponent from advancing or winning. Who had a clean performance? It's our Moody Ass Dental Clean Sheet segment.
When it comes to keeping a clean and beautiful smile, call our friends at Moody Ass Dental for an appointment. In Hialeah, 305-821-0231. In Plantation, 954-692-6825. Get your smile back at Moody Ass Dental. Visit them on Instagram at moodyass.dental.
Now, let's find out who's keeping it clean.
Tell you, man, last night, Bob had it going on, 16 saves, and it's amazing because you can keep it clean. It's a lot easier to keep it clean when you got a nice defense in front of you. And, it's kind of like Moody Ass Dental. You want a great defense? Go over there. They provide free new patient exams. They accept most major dental insurances, and they give you 20% off select treatments. So follow them on Instagram at moodius.dental, and they've been in business for over 30 years. And in our clean sheet segment, we got to give it to Bob, man. He was outstanding. I mean, the other night in the Edmonton game, when he got that breakaway in the third period, and you're like, oh, crap, and he stones him, you're just like, okay, he's at another level now. They make the trade, right? And people are freaking out. Hey, what's Zito doing? And right now you're just watching that Bob. It's interesting how Bob didn't start off. It was a disaster of a contract. It was a disaster of a move. And then all of a sudden, it's one of those things where the mental edge comes back. And about 2.5 years ago, he kind of got it back. And obviously and it just seems like he's on a roll. And you ended up winning, getting back to the Cup last year and winning it. And you're watching them play right now, and they're on a tear. Dude, they're 39, 21, and 3. And when they make the night trade, it's because they feel like Bob is playing, and he is. I mean, if you watch him, he's playing at just an absolutely awesome level. And they're doing a great job of taking care of him, giving him some breaks, getting him rest, all of those things. They've managed Bobrovsky perfectly, but the beauty is that you're getting the play from Bob that you thought you would get at the beginning of this contract, not on the back end of the contract. Okay? And this happens a lot where goalies can last for a long time. They can play for several years. Defensemen, too. That's why the whole Seth Jones thing, oh, he's 30. And dude, he can play for several more years. He can be very effective for you for 3, 4, 5 more years easily if he takes care of himself and all that. In hockey, defensemen can last long, actually, and goalies can last long, too, at the same time. So they've also, kept off a little bit of his workout and try to, keep him fresh. And however it is that they're managing it, Bob is absolutely on a tear. And last night, I know the Blue Jackets aren't this great team, but hey, man, still good enough. And your former team, too. So that's the other thing that Bob had going. So last night, I give him credit. He gets our Moodius Dental Clean Sheet, Keeping It Clean segment. And visit our friends at Moodius Dental. Schedule an appointment in Hialeah for Dade. For Dade folks, 305-821-0231 in Plantation. 954-692-6825. Mr. Bobrovsky, you get our Clean Sheet segment by Moodius Dental.
This clean segment is brought to you by Moodius Dental.
Invisalign, dental implants, preventative care, or cosmetic surgery. When it comes to keeping a clean and beautiful smile, get your smile back with our friends at Moodius Dental. Call for an appointment in Hialeah, 305-821-0231. In Plantation, 954-692-6825. Get your smile back at Moodius Dental. Visit them on Instagram at moodius.dental.
All right. Cosa Nostra, I see, is number 1. Have a great weekend. Big O, what are your thoughts on Myles Garrett request a meeting with Browns owner Haslam only to redirect towards the GM Andrew Berry? That owner's a disaster. The organization's a disaster. And Myles Garrett, wants to get the hell out. That's all. And the owner doesn't need to hear any more about this, about how bad his organization is. NorCal is in the house, jamming to some nerve before the show. Thank you, sir. Giovanni in, Alexis Palenzuela, John Padilla in the Bay Area. One-Eyed Jack, lots to talk about with Trump and Bitcoin Reserve. Yes, I have a lot to tell you about that. I will tell you in a little while. Christian is in. Jay Gelfin, Shabbat Shalom. Orlando Shot and chat crew excited about Derby tomorrow and going to see Fort Lauderdale United FC in Tampa. Yes, I'll be there. I shall see you there. I'm going with the wife tomorrow. Looking forward to it, actually. Steven Gonzalez in the house. Dolphin Dave. Dolphins keep Bradley Chubb. Yep, I already talked about that a couple days ago. You can check it out there. Jake from Palatown, True Fin fan. NorCal says Hugo from Dolphin Spain, Dolphin Club in Spain is all in on joining on the show when you're ready. He's very excited for the Madrid game this year, and we want to go to that Madrid game, do our show all week long from Spain, do our pre and post, break any news that goes on there. If anything happens, obviously we'll be on top of it, but we can't get there. I mean, we got no shot at going there. We got to build up the reserve. You know, there's a Bitcoin reserve. Well, we got to build up a reserve so we can send Sean and myself to go cover this historic event with the Miami Dolphins. All right. So there's the QR code. You can make the donation. Any kind of donation you can make will gladly help us and get us there to Spain. So we appreciate it immensely if you can help us get to Spain and cover the event properly and give you a pre and post game show live from Spain. I am going to get Hugo on too. I'll reach out to NorCal soon for that stuff. We'll have some fun. We got some time for that. Sam the Man, Luis Pinito, Lenny Pena. Last week you struggled, but you kicked ass. You're still kicking ass, brother. Thank you, NorCal. Appreciate it. Oh, okay. There we go. I saw it kind of buffer. Let's see. Moving game to Kingston. Yes, thank you, Giovanni. Thank you. Juan Mendoza, it doesn't matter if we have Messi. If we're not winning games, real Inter Miami fans won't show up because it's only it not only is it far, we have another Broward team that are real contenders, not pretenders. It's far for what? For you? You know there are people that live in Broward, right? So living far has nothing to do with being a fan, my brother. All right. So that's a weak ass excuse when you say, oh, living far or whatever. I live in Deep Kendall and I'm going to Fort Lauderdale United on Saturday. I live in Deep Kendall and I go to Port St. Lucie for a concert. You know what I mean? So far means you're a weak ass fan. So not only is it far, that has nothing to do with being a fan. Either you go because you believe in the team, you want to go or not, but far, what does that have to do with it? It's South Florida. I live in West Kendall, close to Chrome Avenue. To go to the Kaseya Center, dude, that's a 45-minute drive for me. To go to Dolphin Stadium, 45-minute drive for me easily. To go to the Amerant Bank Arena, maybe 50, 55 minutes. To go to a concert at, what is it? I Think Amphitheater now it is. Southern Boulevard, hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. I don't know, dude. I'm not exactly sure, Juan, what stadium is right next to my house. Oh, FIU. 15 minutes away. Yeah, 15. On a good day, maybe 20. Yeah. Far. I love that. You live in South Florida. The word far doesn't exist because you must drive everywhere you go. Nothing is close unless you literally live next to the stadium or arena. If not, we're all driving quite a distance to go to pretty much every event. Yeah. Far. Let's see. Thank you, Giovanni. Cavalier has been a second division club for years. Just moved on up in the ranks recently. 4th place right now in Jamaica Premiership. Yep. Let's see. Lisa Rose in. Jake from Palatown. Ross ain't selling. Yeah, no, I mean, that's just ridiculous talk. Totally awesome Fusion t-shirt. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Those were good days, man. Those were good days. Those were fun. It's the most fun I've ever had covering and watching soccer in South Florida. I had a lot of fun a couple times. I went down to see the Strikers as a kid, but I was really young. But the Fusion experience with Ray Hudson and Hamilton, Doug Hamilton, rest in peace, sir. That was amazing. That was the most fun I've ever had. That was a blast. So, Edward Thurstonhouse says the Inter Miami situation with Messi is almost the same with Butler and the Heat. Just get 6 good guys that can play soccer. Yeah. I just think they should try to focus on connecting a little bit more instead of just being mercenaries. Luke is in the house. You know what? Give me a minute because this is the wife. Quick break. Back.
After 40 years, the Big Cheese Miami is still producing great Italian food. They started in 1984. Since then, they've been winning awards while being voted the best inexpensive Italian restaurant in Miami. Visit them for great food, amazing service. Witness the decades of Cane's memories. The walls are like a Miami Hurricanes Hall of Fame. The Big Cheese delivers anything on its menu or party platter menu to your home, office, or even a park for a picnic. Located at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue, Miami. Call 305-662-6855. TheBigCheeseMiami.com, where they serve large portions at family prices.
All right, let's do it. Let's talk some Dolphins football. My wife she forgot that the show was on. That's all it is. David Furones and our Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report. Live is beautiful.
All rise, football fans, as the Welt and Rayom Miami Dolphins report with David Furones is in session.
Welton Rayom has more than 62 years of litigation experience handling insurance disputes. They are committed to resolving even the toughest insurance claims quickly. Call them for a free consultation. 954-966-4646. Here's Miami Dolphins insider David Furones.
All right. What's up, baby? You feeling good? I don't think he can hear me. Is he checking his face? Can he hear anything?
I'm on a delay. I was still hearing the intro, but I guess I've been in the show.
All right. So he's having some connection issues here, Rashad, because this happened to him earlier in the week, right? He had some funky.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue on his end, possibly.
Yes. Yeah. What are you paying? Mint Mobile and shit?
That's it. Are we caught up?
I don't know. Are you paying Mint Mobile or?
I'm supposed to have some premium Wi-Fi here. I don't know.
You got some dial-up motherfuckers.
I think we're all now, though.
You got some antiquated bullshit going on, bro. What's going on here? You got a mouse like running the modem or something on a wheel?
I think we're all good now.
All right. Are you sure we're good now?
Too much.
See, there's a delay.
It seems like I'm reacting in real time.
Yeah. No, I think you're behind, actually. Your answers are coming like behind.
Seems like a little bit, yeah.
Yes. All right, let's do it. Maybe that's
because I'm thinking so much about him.
Right. Well, I'll work it now where I'll ask the question. I'll let you just get through the whole thing and and we'll move on, and we'll see if we could get you internet that's not Prodigy. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's get to it. All right, Dolphins, give me what's your gut say. We got free agency right around the corner, March 12th. They can start talking to everybody on the 10th. So we're 3 days away from tampering starting, which pretty much has been going on since the combine. Is there a gut feeling on a player or two you think they're going to go after?
Yeah, several in my estimation. And yeah, Monday is really like the day when it all really starts, even though free agents can officially begin signing on Wednesday. So we saw like last year, Monday was the huge day when Christian Wilkins went to the Raiders and Rob Hunt went to the Panthers, et cetera. So, and the Dolphins brought in Jordan Brooks. So, I mean, I've got my eyes on first, I'm looking at the guards because I think that's most important aside from backup quarterback. But as far as starting positions, I'm looking at guards along with safety next, but guard as well. If they get Will Freeze out of the Colts, I think he'd be a great fit. But he'd be a little more pricey. So depends how far you're willing to go as far as spending on him. Now the Bradley Chubb pay cut, revised contract there helps you out a little bit. So does Teron Armstead going down to the minimum before he makes his decision. So all this gives you some flexibility along with maybe some restructures you can pull off if it came down to it. But he'd be there. I'd also consider James Daniels out of Pittsburgh. He's got the Achilles, but he'd be a good fit as far as an athletic guard who can move some people and pass protect. And but a little more economical choice that I'd be okay with is I've mentioned him here is Aaron Banks out of the 49ers. Mike McDaniel drafted him in 2021, his last year as offensive coordinator with San Francisco. So obviously he'd be a fit to the system running the same offense that they do with the 49ers. So those are a few guys I'd look at there. And then if I look at safety, then Jeremy Chin out of Washington would be a great selection. But I've mentioned Harrison Smith last year as far as like an older veteran player who maybe you could get on the cheap. I was hearing some things last year that he was trying to make his way to Miami, and maybe not. It didn't transpire. Jordan Poyer ended up being the selection as far as a cheap safety as a veteran that the Dolphins went with. So maybe a year later, something can brew there as far as just a more economical choice. And veteran presence brings leadership to the defense. So, and backup quarterback, I'll continue to say Jimmy Garoppolo would be my top choice. Yeah. And, we've heard some things about Marcus Mariota. I know you don't love the fit, but he might be in that mix as well.
I think it was the chef. I think the rest of you have just on board. Like, oh, the Hawaii connection, this, that. He doesn't fit with him. He doesn't have accuracy. I don't understand that. If you don't have accuracy and you're a guy that has a tendency to give up on a play pretty quickly, it's been his history throughout his career because he's actually a pretty good runner, but he's also very injury prone too. But for me, his lack of accuracy eliminates him from this offense. In other words, again, now we do have a stupid head coach. He had Skylar Thompson around him for 3 years and had no idea he couldn't play. He did sign Tyler Huntley and didn't change the offense for Tyler when he first started. Didn't alter it enough, which, again, just shows his lack of awareness. So maybe the Mariota thing is dumb enough to happen. You know what I'm saying? This is a season where I believe if you're Chris Grier, you're the front office, and you want to save your ass, you have to stop Mike McDaniel from screwing Mike McDaniel and everybody else in that building. You know what I'm saying? In other words, Grier has to make more of the personnel decisions and not cater to the coach. I think catering to this coach is the most negative thing you can possibly do.
Yeah. You got to find some balance too, because you are still you're still shopping for the groceries for that chef. and what he does. So they still have to be scheme fits, system fits. So there is some level of collaboration with the coach to make sure, the guy who's going to be running that offense can work with these players. So there's some balance, but I get what you're saying, because Mike McDaniel is not fit to be a GM, and that's the GM's job. Chris Greer's job is to make those responsible decisions on how to spend the money. And then, you listen to feedback from your head coach, but you also need to, if you will, be the adult in the room to make the both financially prudent decisions, and then also the ones that you feel, as you have the ultimate decision at the end of the day, are best for this roster that you are building.
Listen, I signed Gesicki for that 1-year deal, and you don't use him. I'm the general manager. Brother, every week I'm bringing you into the office and ripping you a new ass. And then I signed Jonnu Smith, and you're not using him for the first month after I watched them all in training camp and the preseason used in every way. And brother, I'm bringing you into the office and I'm ripping you an ass. And you keep playing Julian Hill every week and he keeps fucking it up, and I'm bringing you in the office and I'm ripping you an ass. And you don't change Tyler Huntley. And when you start him, you didn't adapt to his talent and change the offense to his talent. I'm bringing you in the office and I'm ripping you a new ass. And that's, I think, the problem here. There isn't enough ass ripping going on into Mike McDaniel, and maybe Chris Greer and company have been too nice. And so that's where, see, here's where I have Mike McDaniel eating in the kids' table. And I'm just saying, yo, buddy, just coach the goddamn team. I'm going to give you the talent. You need this, you need that. We needed another running back, and you didn't use Jalen Wright. And you kept using a guy that was fumbling, and you kept overusing Achane and risking his injury. I'm bringing you into the office and ripping you a new ass. And so my problem is I have so many – brother, I can do this with Mike McDaniel for hours if I want. I have so many examples lined up. And that's where I think if you're the front office, because I know for a fact, not just front office, not just scouts, not just assistant coaches and employees, everybody scared shitless in that place. A lot of people don't believe in Mike McDaniel in that building. And so, since that sentiment is in that building, they all know he's not the guy, but they're stuck with him. So if you're stuck with him, you need to put the bib on, put his ass in the kids' table, and say, bro, just coach the team. First, learn how to coach and coach him right. We'll tell you what talent that belongs on this team. He's not good enough to even make a suggestion in my book.
Yeah. Well, all those things you laid out are fair concerns, Big O. I mean, really, like each one of them. The Jonnu Smith one was just so surprising to me early last season. Like, we were seeing him shine in training camp. I mean, every practice, and you were seeing all these different things. Like, he had it all implemented, all these different ways to get Jonnu Smith involved in the offense, but then it was just not there, not happening once you got to the games.
By the third week of the season, if I'm Chris Greer, I'm walking the hallway and Mike is crossing me, I just cock back and just hit him right across the jaw and knock his ass out and say, bitch, if I don't see Jonnu Smith on the field a lot, the next one is going to kick your ass right out of there. That's how pissed I would be that I would make the move for Jonnu Smith after the Gesicki one. I would be so livid with that guy. And what he did with Jalen Wright was unacceptable this year, bro. You know, and the lack of Chris Brooks the year before. And then I'm watching Chris Brooks run our guys over. Enough, bro. Enough. He's bad. He's bad.
Chris Brooks is another one we don't talk about enough. But Jesus, Big O, you would just punch the guy in the hallway. You would just go past right past the LeBron shoulder bump.
If I was Chris Greer by week 3 last year, I would have knocked Mike McDaniel's ass out because I'm the GM. You're making me draft and pay for people, and you're not using them, you asshole. I would be livid. Livid. You're making me look like an asshole.
We're resorting to physical assault.
Yeah, I would.
We have resorted to physical assault. Big O chose violence.
I would knock his ass out to the moon. I would have done that because I'm the GM. I'm getting you your players, and you're not using them? What? What are we doing here? And so that's where I would be so. I'm so pissed with that guy. It's just, whatever. But, and just talk to people in the building. Ask people in the building that you might know, and tell them. Ask them, do you really believe this guy's going to get you out of it? And when you corner some of these people, they'll tell you, yeah, we're not very confident.
Yeah.
So,
no, I mean, last season doesn't give you much reason to be confident. The only thing you could say is, well, if Tua doesn't get hurt for those 6 games, and that's a whole nother topic, is how he's got to protect himself and be smarter with his injuries and injury history, keeping his head safe. And then I thought it was just a head, and then he also hurts his hip, just trying to dive forward on a scramble, which you have so eloquently put it and stated how bad of a decision that was as well, schooling me on that one. Then, yeah, you could say, okay, well, the things could have gone differently last year, but at the end of the day, it was a fall off from that. You were, 11-4 with a chance at the number 1 seed in 2023 with 2 weeks remaining, and you blow that game so badly in Baltimore. Not only that, you get Bradley Chubb injured by keeping him in the game once the score is well out of reach with 4 minutes remaining, and then you don't even have him at all in 2024 because of that. So it's just like bad decisions mounting onto the next season. And then, like the Jalen Phillips thing, which you've also been astute on, is how putting him back in there, you end up losing him for the whole season. And, hopefully now that they get them all back, but it's a big prove-it year. So once you have a season like that, I never see it where it's just such a sharp turnaround for you're getting your contract extensions and everything, and the organization is so high on you to just in the one season, it's all over. But I think after that one season where you have that downward trend, if it goes awry again, then that's where you really set it in stone that you have no future going with this. So for the Greer-McDaniel tandem, both as a tandem, because also Greer has to, if it's ass ripping, if it's getting into Mike McDaniel, if it's countering whatever decision is the one that he's pushing for and making the prudent one, then yeah, he's got to also do that too in building this roster. So it's both of them. And if this season goes awry, then I would just start clean at the top with the new GM, new coach. But hey, if they get back into the playoffs, then I'd have some refound confidence in them.
Yeah, you have no choice. I mean, unfortunately, I'm not the one that has a real problem with the front office decisions on the personnel side. I think overall you've done more than good enough on personnel that Flo should have maximized more on his last year, and Mike McDaniel should have maximized more in all 3 years. So especially this year, you should have won 3, 4, 5 more games. And I blame the coach, not the talent. But because you hired these coaches, they're going to end up taking the fall too at the same time, because that's just how it goes. Your job is not only talent, you have to hire the right coach too. And if you can't find the right coach, and unfortunately, as much as I like Tua, he doesn't make good decisions with his body. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's crazy. By the way, I was pointing at this. You know why I was pointing at this?
Yeah, I can't see it.
You can't see it?
What does it say there?
Smudge Pot Brewing Company.
Okay.
So when you mention Jalen Phillips, this is his dad's place.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. No so when we were out in California in LA, we did the show at Jalen Phillips' dad's place, and there was like 400 Dolphin fans there, dude. It was freaking great. They got a really cool little brewing spot, and it was a lot of fun. a lot of fun. But anyway, getting back to pass rushers, you talked about Bradley Chubb. What'd you think of that move? Personally, I like the move because Chubb now has a year and a half of recovery, so he's going to be more than 100% now, and you didn't risk it, so you got a full recovery from him now. He hasn't played in the system, but at least he's kind of aware of it being around for a year. And now this is a pass rusher you don't have to worry about in the offseason to add on to the team. And with the other guys now, you've got a decent collection, and he can make his money on incentives. So, I mean, we still have to see how the whole deal works out, but clearly they pushed up some money into incentives. I like the move, actually. I think it's a really smart move for them. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think it's a good happy medium between the opposite extremes of either just paying him outright what he was going to make after a season where he didn't play, and he's rehabbing it entirely over the course of the whole season, as opposed to the opposite extreme of releasing him post June 1 and getting all that $19.5 million that you would have had as cap relief to let him go. So you get sort of both sides. And then if you do get everything you would imagine out of Bradley Chubb, then he still gets his money out of incentives while you also have the cap relief to operate this offseason. So perfect marriage right in the middle there. It works. And then when I talked to Chubb at the end of last season, after he never was activated, he did have those 3 weeks, the 21-day practice window to get back into the swing of things, and just never really felt like he was his true football playing self. The key thing that he told me was that it's like a regular offseason now for him because of where he got himself back to through this rehab and trying to play. So it's not like last offseason where it was the whole offseason was rehabbing, and then into the season he's still rehabbing. He's on the PUP, and he's trying to get himself back. Once he starts practicing, I mean, when you have a year-long rehab and then you have 21 days of football practice, which you don't practice every day, but it's a 3-week window of 3 practices each week, really. So really like 9 practices that you get before you can say, all right, now I got to go back onto the football field against these gladiators and play this game. It's asking a lot. So now you get him with a full regular type of offseason, and we'll see what we get out of Bradley Chubb, who's still a guy who has not yet turned 30, and a guy who is a Pro Bowl caliber pass rusher when he's healthy. So we'll see how he comes off this knee injury. But if you have Chubb healthy, Jalen Phillips, and Chop Robinson developing, maybe Emmanuel Ogbah, he's a free agent. You bring him back, you make a decision there.
Yeah, I bring him back. He won't break the bank. I bring him back because he won't break the bank.
Yeah, so bring him back on a team-friendly minimum deal. Then you got a hell of a pass rush there on the edge.
Yeah.
You draft another guy too. You still have Mo Camara as well that you're developing.
Right. He's a youngin, and hopefully that'll work out with Mo down the line. Maybe we'll see a little bit more of Mo this year too. What you think of the Good and Keon Smith tags, and Quentin Bell doesn't get tagged, so he becomes a free agent?
Yeah, that one just came down just minutes ago. Keon Smith, we've talked about him on this program, how we like the kid. It was unfortunate that he had the knee injury during training camp preseason last year, because you thought you had some potential, and he was actually starting to show some positional versatility. He was a tackle, and then he was starting at guard in that preseason game when he got hurt. So Dolphins need guards too. So bring him back and then see what you got in him. See how he comes off that knee injury, and see if he's still sort of on that upward trend that you have had since. He was there since really the Flores. The last year of Flores, I remember my first year covering, he was a practice squad player on that team. And then also, once the team transitioned to the McDaniel era, practice squad again. Finally, 2023, got to making the roster and got in as a backup sometimes with all that offensive line shuffling that happened that year with so many injuries. So maybe you got something, and maybe you got a reserve who could then end up coming in and giving you some valuable reps whenever called upon. And Cameron Good, obviously missed most of last year, but a valued special teamer. He has brought himself to the point where he is a core special teams presence with how he covers punts and does other things on special teams units. So it certainly says a lot that as the team shifted special teams coordinators to Craig Ackerman now coming off the firing of Danny Crossman, that it speaks volumes that Ackerman also like Cameron Good, who can be another outside linebacker who can maybe play on the edge, as we mentioned all those names earlier.
Yeah. No, but just you just bring some happiness to the segment when you say the firing of Crossman. That was really, really nice. But, as for the Cameron Good thing, I'm glad they tagged him because I find him to be an intriguing talent. I really do. I think physically there's a lot of stuff there athletically that you're like, oh, shit, man, if this kid can actually put it together, he actually might be a half-decent player for you. And so the fact that he's made the transition already to special teams, don't ever overlook that. Sometimes there are guys that kind of build their careers a little slower than others, and they make that breakthrough on special teams at first before they become a positional impact type of person. So I'm not saying Cameron Good will be, but I will say this. His talent, it's not like he's limited. It's not like when I look at Larry Izzo or I look at a linebacker that is like a pure special teams linebacker, and you say, oh, yeah, no, I like that guy, but he's a special teamer. That's it. Cameron Good has the talent to be a every down linebacker. And that's the part that to me is kind of intriguing with him because athletically, bro, he looks the part.
Yeah, he does. There's stories like that. I remember last year, Jordan Poyer, obviously he had a bad season with the Dolphins, but the way he was a 7th round pick, Cleveland or Philadelphia, then Cleveland, moving around the league. And then once he broke through as a starting safety, then he became an all-pro and Pro Bowler alongside Micah Hyde, who I think also had a similar trajectory into such a role. And there's a bunch of stories of guys who sort of rose to true starting caliber play in that same way. So actually, one guy kind of rooting for because he's such a great guy is Elijah Campbell, who is a free agent for the Dolphins as a safety. And I spoke to him at the end of the season, and he said he wants to be a starting safety now in this league. And he's been known as a special team quality special team player for the Dolphins, and has been in some safety reps when needed, but hasn't gotten big reps. So he'll obviously have to compete for any job if it's going and finding his happiness elsewhere in free agency, or if the Dolphins do try to bring him back and see what they can do with him on the back end. But who knows? Maybe he has like a Cameron Good could possibly go that route. Maybe he can too, and just find a niche as a defender as well, on top of just that special teams presence he brings.
Follow him on Twitter at David Furones _. What do you got going on there in the Sun Sentinel so folks can check you out, my friends?
Yeah, this weekend previewing free agency for the Miami Dolphins from the team's perspective. So everything you should be looking out for as things get rolling on Monday.
All right, good stuff as always, David. Appreciate you, my brother. We will catch up on Tuesday. Have a fantastic weekend, my friend. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Got it. All right. Welton Rayom, Jeff Welton, Daniel Rayom, they know how to get it done. I've been telling you this for several years now. A bunch of our listeners have experienced it, and they're all better off because they have won cases for them. They've won cases for me. 954-966-4646, bankruptcy, personal injury, homeowner property damage, commercial litigation, condo damage, business owner claims, criminal defense. They do it all, man. WRFLAlaw.com is the website. Call Jeff Welton, Daniel Rayom, 954-966-4646. You may not need it now, but if you need it down the line, the consultation's free. Have the number by your side. God forbid an accident happens and you need something. storm happens and they send over their adjusters right away. Remember, these insurance companies, their adjusters, they work for the insurance company. They don't work for you, okay? So make sure you call Jeff and Dan. They will send their adjusters who are going to work for your best interest and get you the most money available. And as you all know, or if you didn't know, the new laws that were passed by DeSantis favor the corporations, not us. So the most important thing you do is hire the best lawyers possible. Nobody better than Jeff Welt and Daniel Rayom.
This has been another session of the Welton Rayom Miami Dolphins Report with David Furones. At Welton Rayom, they don't get paid unless you win. They handle complex personal injury claims caused by the fault of another in both state and federal courts. They handle auto, trucking, motorcycle slip and fall, and bicycle accidents. Call 954-966-4646. Welton Rayom can help.
They will help. Let's see. Don't forget, you can make a donation to the show, Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. And you can make a Bitcoin or Ethereum donation, and it's on a beautiful dip right now. So it's always amazing. Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal. Make that donation. And you can also help us get to Spain as we are trying to cover the game with the Dolphins in Spain. Who they're playing, we have no idea, but hopefully we will find out in the near future. But we'd like to do our show out there all week and do the pre and post game show. And you could use the QR code that Sean Stanley is going to show you there. And you can also go to our Instagram and our Facebook, X, Blue Sky, Threads. We put the link there, and you can also donate there. So appreciate it. Thank you. So make that donation. Help us get to Spain to cover a historic event. Let's see. Giovanni, Bob is a machine. The way he manages and takes care of his body, he takes his job seriously. Yeah, definitely. He's intense. Bobrovsky's playing lights out at goalie. You are correct, Edward Thurston Howe. Panthers defense, only 16 shots from in 3 periods. It's amazing. And you're only improving your defense with the moves you're making. Walter Olivares says, thank God for the Panthers. Jermaine says, Big O, the Warriors are 10-1 with Jimmy Butler in their lineup. You still think the Heat made the right decision by not giving Jimmy that extension? Jermaine, how fucking stupid are you, bro? Some of you are like really stupid. My brother, the extension that they gave him the last time around was the mistake. You know, the one from the last 2 years, you dummy. You know, like the last 2.5 years, he didn't play during the regular season and you were a play-in team. That's when I said you had to trade him 2.5 years ago, dumbass. See, people like you deserve to be blocked from the show. And what have the Warriors won? I'm sorry. By the way, that one, did Jimmy Butler play in that one? That 10-1? Thanks for playing. See, people like you should not be allowed to text on the show because you don't get it that I was already right about Jimmy Butler 2.5 years ago. Not now. This is how stupid you are. You think I'm talking about an extension now. The extension they currently gave him that they traded him on, not the signed one that they had to give to Warriors. No. The one he was on the last 2.5 years, Jermaine. That's the extension they should have never given him. So I just want to remind you the level of stupidity that you're a part of. I was already proven right when I said don't give him the extension 2.5 years ago, my brother. And how did he reward them? By never playing in the regular season with that new contract. So, I don't know. Did they win anything? Did they win a championship here? I'm sorry, I must have missed it. I don't know. Any banners? So in the end, it didn't work out. They maximized it, but it didn't work out. So Jermaine, you're like you're 2.5 years behind, my brother. The controversy was 2.5 years ago when I said, do not give this guy an extension. This is the time to trade him and get 4 or 5 first-round picks. Jermaine, did they get 4 or 5 first-round picks and a player or two? No, but they would have 3 years ago. This, they had to settle for bullshit. So, yes, it was a great trade now for them because they had to unload the crap. Did they get much in return? No, because he ruined the value. But the Heat and you are dumbasses because you didn't trade him 3 years ago. My God, the level of this is why the things that happen in this world and in this country happen, because stupid people like Jermaine live in this country or in this world. Anyway, Razzle Dazzle Crypto says, what up, Big O? I'm going to Spain for sure. Nice. I hope to hang out with you, man. Let's see. Big Johnson in. Alexis Palenzuela. I live in Cutler Bay, having to use public transportation to get to Amarant Bank to see the Panthers. Yeah. You use public transportation to get there? How the hell do you, what do you take, like 800 buses? How the hell do you get there with public transportation? Most fans won't travel that far if the team is bad. Oh, I'm not saying I wouldn't make that drive. Yeah, but, you know, if you're a fan, you're a fan. You're going. You know, in South Florida, we drive. That's what we do. Anywhere we go, we drive. It's rare that we drive close to something, you know. Razzle Dazzle Crypto says, I live in Tampa and have Dolphin season tickets. There we go. True FinFan says, I now live in Cutler Bay. I'm a delivery truck driver. Nothing is far for me, LOL. People who say places are far drive electric cars. Norbert is in the house. I had a buddy of mine named Norbert back in the day. Good dude. I don't know if it's the same Norbert that's on there. Let's see. Big O, did any great man would do when wifey calls you, drop everything? Well, I mean, you know, it might be important, but she just wanted to call to say that she loves me. So we got to say we love each other, and then we hung up. Let's see. Yes, Furonis. Yes. Maybe we should do a GoFundMe page for Furonis's new Wi-Fi. I mean, that dude is still on Prodigy. He's dialing up. I'm telling you. So the problem is Greer and McDaniel tried to go bargain bin shopping with both lines, and that simply, well, that's a product of McDaniel, and Greer has to check him. You know, that's it. Let's see. Priority 1 is to make a wild card game and save Greer's job. No, I don't think that saves your job. I think you got to win a playoff game. I think that's the only way it saves the everybody's job. McDaniel and, everybody's at the same time. I think you got to win. Not just make the playoffs. I think you got to win, because just making the playoffs is what's been done here forever. You're either barely in or barely out. That's who we've been for decades, dude. Decades. The end of Shula till now, we've been the team that barely gets in or barely is out. That's who we are. It sucks, but that's our reality. It's always been like that. You know? What else do we have? Pat in Asheville with the Dolphins only having $12 million to spend. They'll be shopping at Aldi's, not Whole Foods this offseason. They'll free up some money, dude. They'll free up some money. They'll have more money. They'll free up with Tua and other things and all that stuff. They will do all that stuff. They have to try to win. It's kind of the way it goes. Let me get to our 3A Graphics sports calendar. Dolphins, they have made the decision. Quentin Bell will not get tagged. He will head into free agency, along with Cameron Good and Keon Smith, two guys that were also tagged. Now, they will stay. Those are some Dolphin decisions. On the 10th, they can start talking to free agents. On the 12th, on Wednesday at 4 o'clock, officially free agency opens. Last night, the best franchise in South Florida won again. The Florida Panthers defeated the Blue Jackets. In fact, the Florida Panthers are the best team in the state, correct? Not just the best team in South Florida, best team in the state. They beat the Blue Jackets 3-0. Bob with 16 saves. Barkov and Reinhardt both had a goal and 2 assists each. Amazing stuff. They take on Buffalo tomorrow at 6 o'clock at Amerant Bank Arena. Nova Southeastern University wins 80 consecutive home games in a row, tying a Division II record with their 104-80 win over the University of Tampa. Riker Scizorek delivering, baby, 26 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks, 5 assists. It's a beautiful thing. Dallas Graziani, by the way, added 17 points and 12 assists. Sunday, March 9th, they will host Florida Southern Moccasins. See if they go for that 81st win and the record. And, by the way, they also win the Sunshine State Conference Tournament, and they get there for the 6th consecutive year, too, which is absolutely amazing. 6th consecutive year to the Sunshine State Conference Championship game. Impressive stuff, man. Impressive stuff. Inter Miami last night, CONCACAF action. They defeat Cavalier FC from Jamaica 2-0. Messi did not play with an injury. Suarez and Allende with goals. Yellow cards for Busquets, Suarez, Redondo, and Frey. Sunday, Inter Miami will take on Charlotte on the MLS side at Chase Stadium, 4 o'clock. I'm sure there's tickets available. Next Thursday, by the way, they'll be in Jamaica for the CONCACAF Champions Cup to take on Cavalier FC, 8 o'clock for that one. Saturday, tomorrow night, I'll be in Davie for the Florida Derby, baby. Fort Lauderdale United hosting the Tampa Bay Sun FC. Love it. So if you see me there on Saturday hanging out with the wife, say hi. Would love to see you. I'll be there with my jacket, my heated jacket, because I hear it's going to be in the 60s. Oh, man. Anyway, tonight in basketball, the Miami Heat, they take the court against the T-Wolves, 8 o'clock. T-Wolves are favored by 5.5 points. Over and under is 216. All right. There you go. And, by the way, Bills and linebacker Terrell Bernard have agreed to a new 4-year, $50 million deal with a $25 million signing bonus. Or guarantees, I'm sorry. Not signing bonus, guarantees. And that is your 3A Graphics sports calendar. Please call Alan Blanco and Company if your company, your corporation, your school needs custom printing and embroidery, shirts, hats, uniforms, whatever it is you need. Call my guy, Alan Blanco, at 3A Graphics. Please support the great sponsors that support our platform. 786-618-1443. All right. Blind ass fan alert for Jermaine. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, that was that was it. So anyway. Juan Rosa. Thank you, sir, for chiming in. Daniel, thank you, sir. Well, if Inter doesn't get a chip, Daniel, life is over, buddy. If this becomes one of the biggest disasters ever, there is no second place for Inter Miami this year. Messi and company must win it all. Period. That's it. I don't care about the CONCACAF Champions Cup. I don't care about Leagues Cup. I don't care about any of that shit. You got to win the MLS Cup. That's what they brought you to do. So win the MLS Cup is what you got to do. Alexis says, I take Metro Rail and connect to the Tri-Rail to get there in one bus. Wow. Well, it's not that bad. It's not that bad then. That's pretty good. All right. No doubt, no excuses. I think the Dolphins here the longest drought streak with no playoff wins. Yeah, it's just the Dolphins just can't get it done, bro. Sam Reinhart is my type of athlete, sacrificing money for winning. Yeah. That whole team has sacrificed some money, all the stars. You know, the only one that didn't was Bob because he kind of started it. You know what I'm saying? But that's about it. So, yeah. Let me, before I get back to a little sports, I know Trump's going to talk at 11. So find out for me, Sean, what Trump is talking about, because I don't know if it's the Russia thing or because I know they're going to have the crypto summit today at the White House. But I know that there's some stuff going on that he may do something against Russia, some kind of sanctions against them because of the war and all that, and they won't stop and all that. Anyway, so quickly, remember, I don't care about either side. Okay, so when I'm talking about Bitcoin and crypto and all that, there's politics involved, and I'm sorry, but it's kind of the way it goes. And so these are all these things. So we have the crypto community freaking out. Some, not me. I get this whole thing, the big picture. I'm not worried about it. I actually follow, politics, like really follow it. So I kind of know what's going on. And there's so many layers to all of this. So yesterday, Trump signed officially the Bitcoin reserve. And then people freaked out because there was no announcement right away about buying Bitcoin. And, Cynthia Loomis talked about acquiring 1 million Bitcoin. And they have about 200,000 right now, which they really don't have because there's some that are going to be returned for confiscation purposes because it has to do with a Bitfinex lawsuit and all that. So they're basically kind of holding some of the coins, but they do have a large reserve now. And so now we have children. I have learned now that I've been following crypto heavy for 5.5 years now. I've learned about this now. Okay, this is what I've learned. I've learned that in sports, we have a lot of children. And I've learned that in crypto, we have a lot of children also. Very immature people that have no idea what's going on sometimes. And they say stupid things and they don't really follow the sport or the team. And then they say dumb shit like Jermaine or whatever. And so you have a lot of people like that, unfortunately. And in this case, same thing. Retail's not even involved. That's why you're also not seeing a major pump into 100 and something, 130, 150 yet, because retail's not even involved yet. Remember, 4% of the world's involved in Bitcoin. So there's a lot of people that aren't involved yet. And then the whales and the legal people, they're waiting for regulations, which that didn't come yesterday. And then for those of you out there that you want Trump and the boys to just go out and buy Bitcoin, well, they came out and said the responsible thing. Look, I don't agree with everything that Trump does. I don't agree with most of the things that Trump or Biden have done. But there are going to be a couple things that they're going to do that are right. And I'll tell you, hey, I agree with this. And yesterday, I agree with this because I understand where they're coming from. Okay, they can't establish the reserve and then say, hey, we're going to go out and buy and use taxpayer money. You can't do that. So they could sell bonds to turn it into Bitcoin and put it in the reserve. They have the sovereign wealth fund that they can use. They can, when they catch people doing illegal activities, they can confiscate and put it into the reserve. They can sell gold, which the U.S. has more than enough gold. They can sell a large portion of it if they want and convert it to Bitcoin. They're not, the smartest thing that they did was go out there, because it'd be very insulting to have the debt we have and then say we're going to use taxpayer money when 96% of the world doesn't know anything about Bitcoin. They've heard of it or something, but they don't understand it. They don't know what kind of a value it is and all that. So you're just going to create a controversy, even though it might be a good investment, but you can't do that. So to their credit, they didn't go out there and say, oh, now we're going to use taxpayer money. They're going to be creative, but they're going to be able to add it. Besant will figure out ways. Lummis will figure out ways. These are smart people. They'll figure it out, but you cannot go in there. You know they can start Bitcoin mining. The U.S. can start Bitcoin mining, and they can add to their reserve with by mining. We have nuclear power plants. We have volcanoes. We have all kinds of stuff. We have natural energy that you want to use, windmills or whatever it is, dams. There's all kinds of ways that you can tie miners to natural energy, solar, all that, and start mining. Problem is, because there's so many of you out there that have no idea what the fuck you're talking about. You don't know anything about Bitcoin. You don't know anything about Bitcoin mining. You don't know what a node is. You have no idea what a blockchain is. You don't know what DeFi is. You don't know what crypto is. You don't know anything about that. And so all you're looking for is a quick buck. And that's why we dropped from 108 to the high 80s now, because all the people that have owned Bitcoin under a year are the ones selling, the people that don't know anything. Your cousin, your father, your brother, your mother, your sister, your grandfather, your grandmother, your coworker, you know what I'm talking about. Those of us that are real Bitcoiners, we know. The doubters we deal with all the time. They don't know anything. They don't understand anything. And so they act like children. And the Bitcoin sovereign, the Bitcoin fund is set yesterday. And now they did something positive. We just had an administration that all they did was sell Bitcoin and lose billions in the process by selling it. Now we have one that is, I don't agree with a lot of shit they're doing, but this one, at least they put this they're doing right. They finally grabbed it all and put in a reserve and locked it in. That's smart. Now you have to find creative ways to collect more. And there's many ways, and they're going to implement them. And by the way, for those of you out there, because I own Cardano, I own XRP, I own Solana. You know, the three that were put into that other crypto fund, I think they're going to use those to buy Bitcoin. I don't think they're going to collect Solana. I don't think they're collecting XRP or Cardano. I think if they happen to think they confiscate that shit, they're not buying. If they're not buying Bitcoin, you think they're going to buy Cardano? You think they're buying XRP? You think they're buying Solana? How stupid are you? You know what they're going to do, right? When they confiscate those, they will put them into the sovereign fund and convert it to Bitcoin, which is what you're supposed to do. So for those of you out there with this big, oh my God, we're going to collect a whole bunch of Solana, and we're going to collect a whole bunch of XRP and Cardano and build it, and bullshit. Those are the ones that you know you can convert to Bitcoin. They'll add a few more, and they find out which are the popular ones. And then when they run into those, they'll bring them into the fund, convert them into Bitcoin. That's what's going to happen. I'm the guy that owns all three, and I own a lot more Solana and ADA than I do even XRP, but still, I own all three, and I'm the guy that tells you none of that shit belongs in a reserve. That is shit that we cash out on and move on, bro. Bitcoin, you can pass it on to your kids. Luis Benito, buy Bitcoin, keep it simple, makes sense. That's it. And hold. The magic of holding it. Hold it for 2 years and you'll understand. Hold it for 4 years and you're going to be in love. You'll divorce your husband or your wife and you'll marry your Bitcoin. That's all I'm telling you. So relax. I don't agree with everything these people are doing. I don't agree with the way they're dismantling the government. I would have gone through, I love dismantling it, but I would have gone more methodical approach. A little slower and figure things out. And when I fire somebody, it's because we're going to fire them. I'm not going to rehire. Tariffs. I don't agree with any of the tariffs. But if you're going to do the tariffs, you know what you do? You first go behind the scenes and you negotiate with your countries. Then when the negotiations are finally done, then you announce what you do. You don't threaten and on and off because you shock people. You make them lose money. You make them sell for no reason and, irresponsible. So when you watch Biden, told you a ton of shit that I disagreed with that idiot and his people. I'm going to do the same thing with this guy. Some things I'm going to agree with. Shut the damn border down. I agree with it. Bitcoin sovereign fund. I agree with it. I agree with dismantling the government, but not the way they're doing it. So, but again, it has nothing to do with politics. I don't care about either side. Don't care. Don't really care. Both sides are trash. Okay? So I'm just going to call it like I see it. That's it. So you'll be fine. By the way, people might pay the government stupid, but we do have Jermaine on the chat board, right? So Jermaine might be stupid enough to pay his taxes with Bitcoin. Where do you think that Bitcoin, if you pay the government anything in Bitcoin, where do you think the Bitcoin's going to go to? Oh, that's right. The reserve. People will pay. They'll pay the government in Bitcoin. They'll be stupid enough. I mean, they buy shirts and hats and a pizza and a car or whatever. Why wouldn't you just pay your taxes in Bitcoin? Because the government's going to accept Bitcoin. All governments are going to accept Bitcoin. All cities are going to accept it. All states are going to accept it. So you're going to be able to pay your taxes, your fines, whatever, your court fees, whatever it is you're doing. You can do it in Bitcoin. Where do you think the Bitcoin's going to go? You think they're going to cash it out right out? No, it'll go right to the reserve. So bonds, Bitcoin bonds, into the reserve. Mining, into the reserve. Gold to Bitcoin, into the reserve. But we have so many uninformed people that don't know anything about what's going on, and that's our problem. And because when we have the Elizabeth Warrens of the world, along with 96% of the world that doesn't know anything about crypto, there's a lot of misinformation out there. And those of us that have the information and we're stacking and we're keeping and we're making money and we're like, whatever, you idiots, go ahead. We're out on top. The rest of you, I should find that Zach Thomas one. We're losers. So that's my piece. I've said it, over, done. That's it. I'm not a financial advisor by any stretch whatsoever. Never have been, never will be. But I'm just going to keep stacking. Right now, Bitcoin and Ethereum are at monster discounts. You will regret not taking advantage of buying Bitcoin in the 80s and the 90s. You will regret it. In a couple of years, when it's several $100,000, it's at $500,000-$600,000. You're going to go, holy shit, I could have gotten it at 80, 85, 90, 95, 100. And I would have 4-5x'd. On our way to $1 million, by the way. It's up to you. By the way, we want to thank R&M Contractors and Custom Drywall. Ray and Mike do excellent work, and they support our Crypto Bro show as always. And we appreciate Ray and Mike because they do awesome work. And you could go check it out. By the way, go to their Instagram page, RMC Fisher Island. You can call Ray, by the way, if you're looking to upgrade your home, your business, your condo. Call him 305-345-3649, R&M Contractors and Custom Drywall.
The Crypto Bro Show is solely for entertainment purposes. Orlando Alzagari and his guests are not financial advisors or investments consultants. If you ever plan to invest, make sure you do your homework. Talk to a professional and understand investing is very risky and volatile. Good luck in any of your investments and only invest what you're willing to lose.
And, Brett makes a good point. You don't even need a prenup to marry Bitcoin. That is very good. Very good. Hell, you don't even have to support her. She supports herself. Oh, man. When it comes to crypto, just monitor what BlackRock does. As far as tariffs, China, Canada, Europe, and Mexico have been hitting us with 25% tariffs for years. A lot of products. Doesn't matter, bro. It's the whole thing is, here's where we lose out. We stop becoming a manufacturing power. Decades ago, 30, 50, 70 years ago, 80 years ago, we were a manufacturing power. We became so rich of a country that we pay for people to come from other countries to clean our homes, to pick our fruits, to do the jobs. We're so snobby in America. There are jobs that we refuse to do. And we stop manufacturing. You put a 25% tariff on steel. We produce less than 10% of the steel that China does. China produces 10 times the amount of steel and aluminum that we do. Cheaper, too. So how does it help us? It doesn't. The last time, so Eddie H., maybe you'll learn a little something here, buddy. The last time he put tariffs on steel, it produced a lot of money for our American companies. $2.3 billion for our American companies. But it cost Americans $5.3 billion. No, it was $2.6 billion it produced for it. $5.3 billion it cost Americans to make that money for the U.S. steel companies. Do you know why? The imported steel was at such a high rate. Do you know what the U.S. companies did? They raised their prices now because of the gap. So that's what happens when you put tariffs. Eddie H., you may want to learn a little something. This ain't 1920 like they're talking about. Oh, when we had tariffs in 1880 to 1930, we were so rich. We were a manufacturing giant, which we're manufacturing more than everybody else. So you can do that. But when they're manufacturing more than you are, and all your products everywhere you see are around your house say made in China, you can't win a trade war, my brother. Because the tariffs you're laying are less here. Example again, Trump put tariffs on washers the last time around. You know what happened? The prices went up on dryers. Why? Imports were so expensive, the domestic brands saw that the gap was so big, they could raise the prices and make more profits. So if you think the domestic companies, Eddie H., are going to keep their prices down, what happened in the pandemic, buddy? Did they lower their prices after they raised them? No, because they never lower their prices after they raise them. So, Eddie H., if you want to stay naive and believe that bullshit you're trying to sell, you go ahead, buddy. Tariffs don't help anybody. Tariffs bury us. That's all it does. One way or the other. You either pay more for the imports or you'll pay more for the domestics because they know they can make more money now. Okay? And the proof is all there. And this ain't the 1920s. This is 2020s. Whole different ball game. Whole different America. This is a lazy-ass America. We stopped being a manufacturing giant, baby. You know what a manufacturing giant is? China. And that's why they can win any trade war anywhere. They produce more, and they produce it at a fraction of what we produce it at. So, Eddie H., my brother, you need an edumacation. Now, let's get ourselves a Canes edumacation with the one and only Manny Navarro and our Caneswear Miami Hurricanes report.
The viewpoint, statements, or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc., ownership, management, sponsors, or website. If you're a Miami sports fan, there's only one store to go to, and that's Caneswear at Miami Fanwear in Davie. They're your one-stop shop for all your Inter Miami CF, Canes, Dolphins, Panthers, and Marlins merchandise. They have hats, t-shirts, game day jerseys, and so much more. Located at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, and open 24/7 online at caneswear.com or intermiamiwear.com. Call them at 954-835-5597. Caneswear, the spot where Inter Miami and all Miami sports fans shop. Time for Canes fans to get what they want. Information, insight, and perspective. It's the Caneswear Miami Hurricanes Report with Manny Navarro. Exclusively on the Big O Radio Show. Here's Big O and insider Manny Navarro.
All right. Be fans of teams, not political parties. Manny, how you doing, baby? Good morning.
Great. How are you? Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir. Just educating some folks out there. Anyway, educate us. What do we got new in the world of the Canes? What moves are we making here? What's going on with the football team this week?
Well, first of all, the football team is in their third day of practice, still not in full pads yet, but progressing to that, and they will get to that after spring break. They'll be off next week, so it's weird from a scheduling perspective. You come in for the first week. You work for a week basically without pads, and then next week you're off for spring break because of school. So they'll be gone for a week, but they'll be back the following.
Then you put the pads when they come right back. Is that what they're going to do?
That's the way it works. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of odd, isn't it? It's kind of weird. Like you would just figure that they would work into pads like right off of that. You know what I'm saying? Right. Wow, that's interesting. And how break it down for us, because that's one thing that we need to get educated on. In the offseason, how much time does Mario and his coaching staff have with these players, and how many hours or how many practices this offseason? How is it?
Well, basically, I think they're allowed a certain amount of hours, and I don't know what the exact number is because it's evolved over the years. So I don't even know what the latest number is with all the NCAA changes. But essentially, you're allowed to meet with players. I don't think you're allowed to organize practices. That's what your strength and conditioning coaches are for. That's what your analysts and other people are for. But essentially, they can come in and meet and break down film and go over stuff. Coaches, I think, are allowed to watch workouts, but they're not allowed to participate in it. That's basically what the rule is. So, but the kids will get together, and Carson Beck, obviously he's not throwing yet, but he has been organizing get-togethers with receivers and running backs and offensive linemen and getting them together to make sure that they're ready to roll when he is, which I'm guessing, based on the calendar and when he had surgery, probably the end of April is when he'll starting to throw at the beginning of May, and he'll have all of that time leading up into camp into being able to work with his receivers.
Okay, that's interesting because not having your quarterback for a certain portion of the offseason, you'd wonder, but it looks like he'll be back soon enough that you'll have some time, to work with him, overall. Remember this stuff? I don't know how where players would work out on their own back in the day.
Right.
Does any of that shit ever go on anymore?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, all of these guys usually end up going to private coaches. That is what ends up happening. A lot of them will go down to Bomberitos and train down there, or train with, the offensive linemen will hook up with offensive line coaches and work on technique and specifics. Quarterbacks go back home to their quarterback coaches. So they'll spend all off season, the good ones anyway, the ones that really want to be good, the ones that want to be in the NFL. That's what they do. So yes, they won't be getting coached by Miami's coaches per se, but they will be working out and working on technique, etc. So yeah, I think all of that stuff still goes on. and you'll see it. You'll see it on their social media accounts. A lot of the guys will videotape themselves going through drills or working out or whatever. So, and plus they have their own, weight training regiments and everything else that they have to do at UM.
It's the off season again. I'm going to speak from ignorance here. I'm not sure. Like I asked you about the hours and all that kind of stuff. Do you know about all the any of the injuries or guys that aren't we know about the quarterback, but that's kind of been known already. Anything else important that's kind of missing? Is there anything that was shocking or surprising? Any injury that you didn't know about or something like that?
No, I mean, look, everybody ends up having surgery in the off season, and for the most part, I want to say this is a relatively new team. If you look at it, the amount of roster turnover, the amount of seniors, the amount of guys that went to the NFL, a lot of the guys that are premier players are gone already, pretty much for Miami. So this is sort of a fresh start. But the one transfer addition who I know is not out there, in terms of participating here early on in spring is CJ Daniels. And I think part of that is because he had something done after he left LSU. So he will eventually be in there, the veteran receiver with 30 career starts. He's the only other starting receiver on the roster besides JoJo Trader that's actually started a college game. So, but Daniels will be back and he will be working with Carson Beck in the offseason and getting things rolling. But as far as participating right now, I have not seen him out there.
Are you shocked that Cam Ward is ahead of Shedeur Sanders?
No, because I think NFL teams are putting a priority more so on mobile quarterbacks than the traditional pocket passer. And that's always been the knock on Shedeur, is that he is not a more mobile sort of weapon. Obviously he did a better job dealing with pressure. Cam Ward didn't really feel that much at Miami. And when he did, he was able to buy time. But Shedeur was kind of running for his life, dealing with pressure a lot at Colorado because they didn't have a great offensive line. And so
he took some hits.
Yeah.
He's a tough. By the way, he's mobile back there. He moves around. He can buy himself time. Now, he's a real pocket passer. He's just not a runner. I think he can run if he wanted to. He has athleticism, but he is a pure pocket passer. And
I think
he wants to make the play with his arm, and that's what I respect that a lot.
Listen, in the NFL, ultimately, you don't see quarterbacks taking off and running all the time. Their job is to find the receiver down the field and not play backyard football. So it is a different style. But ultimately, I think that's the difference right now. I think people saw what Cam Ward did to elevate Miami. And not that Shedeur isn't good, but I think they saw what he meant to Miami and how good he is in the locker room and what he meant to that organization, that I think right now that's probably one reason why people are projecting him ahead of Shedeur.
I'm standing by I'm going to say Shedeur is going to be the better quarterback out of the two. I still have to see Cam in a natural NFL offense where he's going to be pressured a lot.
Yeah.
And he will not have 8 seconds to throw the ball. And there was just too much of that. And the fact that there were times where he had plenty of time and he still made bad decisions, those are things that scare me a little bit. I know the hype is there, and I know the talent is, oh my God, it's there. It's like he lacks nothing for the NFL, nothing whatsoever. He's got accuracy, he's got an arm, but his decision-making at times can be a little questionable, and that's where I need to see him in that structure in the NFL, whereas I know Shedeur can live in that structure because that's who he is, actually. You know what I mean? So I just kind of feel that he'll make a faster transition than Cam Ward will. We'll see.
We will see. It'll be interesting to see how both of them develop, but they're both going to be first-round picks. They're both going to be guys that teams, bank their future on, and we'll see which one makes a better adjustment to the pro game.
And the other thing, on the flip side of Cam, the bad thing for Miami is all the crazy shit he pulled off. Now we're expecting Carson Beck to be that guy, and that's going to be what a disappointment for Canes fans if they think, oh, well, we're paying this guy $1 million too, just like that. He must be the same thing, and I don't know if they've watched this kid. Right. He's not going to be able to do some of the shit that Cam did, bro.
Well, I think Mario is prepared for that in the sense of, and the same thing with Shannon Dawson, that they're going to run a different offense. This is not going to be, first of all, he doesn't have the same receivers. 7 of the 8 top receivers from a year ago are gone. So right off the bat, it's a different group that he's going to be throwing the football to. So right off the bat, you cannot put him in a situation to be the same gunslinger Cam is. But I will say this.
He's not a gunslinger. That's the thing.
Right.
That's not Carson Beck's game. It's not being a gunslinger. If you make him a gunslinger, you're going to get in trouble.
Well, I think Miami's going to be a much more balanced approach. I think you're going to see more stuff off of play action, and you're going to see them run the football with Jordan Lyle and Mark Fletcher. Those guys can run the football. They've got offensive linemen that can block and create holes. So it'll be more of that approach. And in the end, though, I've told people this. When you think about the improvements Miami's made on defense, I think this is going to be a more balanced team, a better team than the one that we saw a year ago, where it was basically Cam Ward or die, right, every single week. Does that mean the record will necessarily be better? I don't know. The schedule is certainly tougher. I know that.
Yeah. And by the way, do we know when's his what's it called, pro day?
I think, God, do I want to say the 24th was the pro day? I got to go back and look. One of Rosenhaus's guys told me the other day, and I forgot when the pro day is exactly. Miami, I don't know if they've announced that formally yet, but I think it's the 24th.
Okay. All right. Because I would imagine that would be a big day for Cam. As half the league is going to be there.
Yes.
Check it out and all that, because half the league needs a damn quarterback. So I would imagine that's going to be a freaking circus that day when he's got to throw. Don't forget, folks, Caneswear. Go visit our friends there at Caneswear. You can use our code BIG010. You can get anything and everything with the Canes logo on it. And, of course, Inter Miami and Miami Dolphins, Miami Heat gear. They got all kinds of stuff there at Caneswear. Use our code BIG010. You will get 10% off. And if you order online over $99, you will get free shipping at caneswear.com.
Welcome to Caneswear. New store, new items, same great experience. Family owned and operated since 2010, Caneswear has the latest merchandise from the Miami Hurricanes, Miami Dolphins, Florida Panthers, Inter Miami CF, and more. Come visit us at our store in Davie on University Drive, just south of 595, or online at caneswear.com. Caneswear, the spot Miami fans shop.
We step into the world of big dreams, big moves, and big money. It's the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. After 40 years, the Big Cheese remains dedicated to serving the finest Italian dinners, pizza, pasta, subs, and salads. All of their pasta is imported from Italy and cooked fresh every day. Visit BigCheeseMiami.com. Now, let's find out who's the Big Cheese the Miami Hurricanes are working on with insider Manny Navarro.
All right, it's a beautiful thing. All right, Manny, let's get into our BigCheeseMiami.com NIL report. Jai Lucas.
Yes.
Let me start off with a little basketball instead of a little football there. It was kind of rumored, and it happened. So talk to me a little bit about the new Canes basketball coach.
Yeah, Jai Lucas has never been a head coach before. He's always been an assistant coach, but he spent a lot of time around some of the best basketball athletes in the world. I don't know if you saw the video that the University of Miami put out recently after the hire was made official, but LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, a lot of NBA pros were on this little video congratulating him on getting the Miami job. And ultimately what this is all about, is Jai Lucas's connection to the athletes and being able to bring players to the University of Miami because of his relationships, because of the type of recruiter that he is, the type of recruiter he was at Kentucky, the kind of recruiter he was at Duke. And so I know initially when I first spoke to people in Miami's brass after Jim Larinaga decided to step down, the feeling was everybody in the country was going to be interested in this job because Miami was going to spend the money. They were going to have the NIL resources to bring in players, to revamp the roster, and to try to become a Final Four team again. Now, it was a little surprising that they went with Lucas because he's never been a head coach, but certainly from a personnel perspective, it makes total sense, especially if you're going to spend money and if you're going to surround him around the kind of assistant coaches who can do the X's and O's. And we've seen that before in college basketball and in other realms where maybe the head coach isn't the X's and O's guy, but he's the personnel guy. And so Miami's kind of going the Cristobal route, I think, with basketball, right? Cristobal is the personnel guy, the guy who recruits his butt off, brings the talent in, reels them in, convinces them to come here. And I think eventually you're going to see him surrounded.
Hamilton.
Yeah.
Leonard Hamilton.
Yeah, you've seen other examples over the years for sure.
Smith, it was Coach Smith, right? I think is his name. He ran the offense. He ran the practices.
Yep.
Leonard was the head coach, the recruiter, the relationships guy, all that. But was it Stan Smith?
I can't remember now. It's so many years and so many different guys. But yes.
I want to say his number one assistant that's been with him till the end here.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say that's the guy that's actually coached the offense the entire time. It's not Leonard Hamilton. A lot of people may not know that. You know that because you obviously follow this shit. But yeah, that's something that's normal. So that's good. As listen, if Jai can recruit, the other question is, will they spend?
Yes.
And I guess the NIL is willing to spend in men's basketball.
They are, and basketball is I can tell you basketball is very important to the people running the University of Miami. I know the record this year was highly disappointing, 6-24 or whatever the final record was. The women were bad too as well, didn't even make the ACC championship game. So I know that in terms of the brass and the people who were in charge of the school, it's important for them to see the program turn around. It does not surprise me, by the way, that they went to Duke to get a Duke assistant coach. Because I know that Miami's brass looks at Duke as the gold standard, and for good reason, right? That's the program in the ACC that has dominated the conference for the most part, won the most national championships here in recent years. I know North Carolina had a ton of success too, but you look at what maybe the last 20, 30 years of college basketball has been like. Duke is the gold standard in the conference, and they've spent a lot of time over there looking at the facilities, looking at how they run things, studying the way Duke does things. And so getting a guy who was at Duke on the staff there that, oh, by the way, recruited the Boozer twins, okay, who are the biggest recruits in South Florida in basketball in a long time. They're over at Miami Columbus High School, got them to commit to Duke. Getting Jai Lucas, the primary recruiter, makes complete and total sense, especially nowadays when you can flip guys and get them to switch schools easily in the transfer and to come in. So I think all of that was part of the initiative here.
So you're reporting that Jai Lucas is going to get the Boozer boys to come here then. And so
I'm not reporting. I'm speculating that that's the move here. That's most likely what's going to end up happening.
Jai Lucas brings the Boozer boys, keeps them home. That's a lot of money.
Might be happening. Oh, I'm just saying it. Just a coincidence that the Boozers decide, oh, we're going to go play for Duke, and then they go and get the primary recruiter from Duke.
I like that. I can go for that. Do you know who his assistant's going to be, by the way? Any idea?
One of them is probably going to end up being the Columbus High School men's basketball coach, Andrew Moran, who's been there and led the program to several state championships. So I think part of it is getting and helping solidify the Boozer boys to come to Miami. I think that's probably one of the moves. There's other assistants, guys that have been in college basketball for a long time, obviously. And we mentioned already how Lucas is the personnel guy. So there will be some brains that are going to be brought in to help run the X's and O's part of it. I don't want to speculate on names right now because there's a bunch of them out there, but I think for sure Moran is one guy that has been rumored to be coming here because of the Boozer twins.
Wow, that would be amazing if they can get the Boozer twins. All right, what recruits are you expecting on campus today?
Well, for football this morning, you had a bunch of them, a bunch of 2026, 2027, and even 2028 guys. For the 27 class, which is still next year, the biggest one was five-star Caden Henderson, linebacker out of Tampa Jesuit. He's starting his unofficial tour of schools with Miami. Going to be at Florida next week and Florida State the week after that, then Clemson, Ohio State, Alabama, and USC. So Henderson is a big, huge target in the 2027 class, 6'2", 200-pound plus linebacker, a guy that is an absolute stud and the highest rated of all the recruits that were on campus. But I would say from the underclassmen, that was the noteworthy one. And then from the 26 class, Jalen Waters, the 4-star cornerback from Sefner Armwood, who we could have some news on soon. Derek Cooper, the running back out of Hollywood Chaminade, 4-star. Andre Clark, 4-star cornerback out of Richmond, Virginia. Here's a familiar name for sports fans, Justice Fitzpatrick. I wonder whose younger brother that is. Maybe Minka? He was on campus today as well. 4-star defensive back out of St. Thomas Aquinas. Couple of offensive linemen were there. Joel Irvin from Fort Myers. You had Ashley Walker from Hollywood Chaminade. And then a couple of receivers, Jason Lopez, Larry Miles from in-state. Larry Miles is a 4-star from Orlando Jones High School. He's the teammate of 2026 Miami quarterback commitment, Darian Coleman. Darian Coleman was on campus with Larry Miles today, or scheduled to be on campus with Larry Miles today. Coleman, to me, when I watch him and I watch Luke Nickel, to me, it's not even close. I think Darian Coleman is the better quarterback, the better prospect. But, he won't get here for another year. He was on campus. He was one of 2 commitments in the 26th class on campus. The other one was Jordan Campbell, the linebacker out of Carroll City High School, who's been committed to Miami, by the way, since November of 2023. So that kid has kind of been the linchpin for Miami. Big-time linebacker from Carroll City High School.
So who could be the next big commit? Who's the next big cheese?
I think it's definitely going to be Jalen Waters, who's the former Florida Gators commitment who decommitted a while back. He's got some official visits coming up to Auburn, Miami, and Florida, ones that were scheduled previously. Auburn on May 30th, Miami on June 13th, and then Florida on June 16th. I think ultimately if he ends up committing to Miami potentially sometime this weekend, he might take those other visits off the table or still go. Who knows? You know how it is in this day and age. Guys still want to be able to take their visits. Waters is certainly good enough. He's got high school teammates from Armwood that just were part of this recent Miami recruiting class that are here. And so they can convince him to be one of maybe the next commitment, one of 5 if he commits here this weekend. Then he won't be taking those trips. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays out.
All right. What do you got going on in the Athletic so folks can check you out, my friend?
Yep. Got a transfer portal story. I mean, I just wrote something big on Miami earlier this week, storylines to watch for the spring. A lot of the stuff that we covered here on the show the last couple of weeks, but we're going to have a transfer portal story looking at news and notes, who's the big winners in the portal, the losers, in terms of bringing in experienced starters, etc. So it'll be a nice little analysis for you to catch up on all of college football.
All right, good stuff as always. And don't forget to visit our friends at the Big Cheese. Go to the website, bigcheesemiami.com. You can order the party platters if you got to get together with your friends, family members, coworkers, whatever it is. And, of course, just treat your friends, your family members, that person you love to a great lunch or dinner. 305-662-6855. Go to bigcheesemiami.com.
You've been listening to the Big Cheese Miami Recruiting and NIL Report with Manny Navarro. At the Big Cheese Miami, they continue to purchase the same high-quality ingredients that the most expensive Italian restaurants use. The difference is they serve large portions at a family price. Visit the Big Cheese at 8080 Southwest 67th Avenue in Miami. Call 305-662-6855 or go to thebigcheesemiami.com. Go Canes!
Right. We thank Manny Navarro as always. Appreciate him. What do we have here? Horn Dog says, I'm so tired of these networks and scouts shit on Shador because of his father's confidence, but him dropping is going to land him on a playoff team just like Marino. Steelers would be the perfect fit. I think it's a lot of smoke screens going on. I think there's a lot of lying going on. I think Shador is going to go a lot higher than people think and maybe even be the first quarterback taken. I think there's a lot of gamesmanship going on. Sorry. I get it. I'm in South Florida, so everything Miami is going to overshadow everything. I get it. It's blasphemous for me to say Shador over Cam, because I'm a UM guy and I'm a UM fan and I'm doing a show that, originates from South Florida and it's usually a show that talks more about South Florida sports than anything else. So I get all of that. I think there's a lot of bullshit going on because I can't believe a lot of the bullshit that's going on. And because the world is full of a lot of bullshit, I kind of get that this is what's going on right now. Because I don't have a way of understanding how I'm going to look at Cam as a better passer than Shedeur. There's no way. There's no way. I've watched that kid play with lesser talent at Jackson State and a terrible line in Colorado, and the stuff that he can do. I'm telling you, he didn't have a line and the time to smoke an entire cigar back there like Cam did with Miami. Sorry. I just think that Shedeur is a better passer. So I think, Horn Dog, there's a lot of gamesmanship, a lot of BS, a lot of smoke and mirrors going on right now. I think they're talking up Cam because they'd rather have Shedeur. So it's kind of like when they were talking up Beasley and really it was Rose. Kind of like that. I kind of get that feeling. Big O, how you feeling about Arsenal's blowout win in Champions League? Look, dude, as an Arsenal fan, all I can tell you, Air Tito, I'm not going to, go long on this, but I'm just feeling great about Arsenal the last couple of years compared to where we were 5-10 years ago, where we were in this just rut, not playing well, not having good seasons, not having entertaining stuff going on. So last couple seasons have been a lot better than what I've experienced in years past. Let's just put it that way. So I'm in a better place as an Arsenal fan. Any Arsenal fan should be in a better place the last couple of years than where they were 10 years prior, dude. By the way, remember Cash App or Venmo, you can make a donation as always, and thank you. Christian DiMartino, I'm sorry. This season, I would really like to see Tua step up and be a real leader in the huddle and on the sidelines. I want to see some leadership and fire from him. Enough of this smirking crap. Hope all is well. Dude, I just want him to play smart. Stop doing the stupid shit. He's not ever going to be Mr. all-out leader on the field and screaming at people and all that. That's not really in his DNA. But he is a leader in his own ways. And the fact that he shows, his crazy toughness of wanting to put his body out there, even though it's incredibly stupid, or he's willing to play at any time, I think he sells leadership to his guys and his dedication and his knowledge and all of that. I think that's enough. Christian, where I have a problem with him is his decision-making. That's where he screws his team, where he puts his body out there and his body's not made for that. And then what's the end result? You're missing games, screwing your team over. Like I told you earlier, when you see Tua, say, hey, Tua, thanks for screwing up the season. Remind him. Because his stupidity is what puts the Dolphins at a disadvantage. When he thinks he can tackle somebody because they intercepted the ball, that's stupid. When he thinks he can take on anybody as a tackler, that's stupid. So that's what I need from Tua. I'm not worried about Tua the passer. I worry about Tua who thinks he's a football player. That moron needs to go away. And if it doesn't, then, he'll be dead in the water soon enough and be out of the league. So it's up to him. To me, it's not about any of the leadership stuff or any of that. To me, it's about him taking care of his body and understanding who the hell he is. Okay? Some guys got to learn how to live in the pocket. And some guys can't. So Jalen Hurts has to run, has to take hits because he can't live in the pocket because he's not a good passer. Tua is an excellent passer. Live in the pocket, kid. That's all. So for me, it's not about the blah, blah, blah and all that stuff. It's about just being smart, bro. Stop doing stupid things. That's all. And you'll be fine. You'll be one of the best quarterbacks in the league. You'll be a top 5 guy if you just pass the ball. That's it. And then if Mike McDaniel, the moron, can actually run the ball a lot, that would help Tua out too. Understand what you have and who you are, and then maybe we can advance. Once you know who you are and what your limitations are, life is beautiful. You get farther in life when you know your limitations because you will excel more because you know what not to do. It's a beautiful thing. Absolutely beautiful. Yes, sir.
The earlier, when you asked me about the Trump thing, I think that was about Russia, but there has been some news out about the crypto summit.
Yes.
Again, per Brandon Peterson, I don't know all the ins and outs, but he's sourcing a senior White House official on a press briefing this morning, stated the White House is not expecting any announcements around tax policy at today's crypto summit. That's in reference to the capital gains tax exemption and all that.
Again,
so that's just kind of what's come out now, but just so you know, I'll keep an update if anything else comes.
Okay, folks, let me give you the most crucial thing on all of this going on. We have 2 parties. Neither one does what's best for us. But when they're trying to do anything on their own, they will use their own agendas for it. Okay? So for 4 years, did we not see an anti-crypto stance? Did we not? And Democrats have yet to even prove that they're for it. Only a few. Ro Khanna, Shapiro, there's only a few Dems that are really pro-crypto, okay? So they haven't come up with the new budget and plan coming up, right? They've got to work with Democrats on this. And if they want to spend any, they're going to lose some of their own Republicans that are very conservative and don't want to spend. We're on thin ice here. It's politics. Do you think these guys are ready to come out and say, yeah, we're starting a Bitcoin reserve and we're going to use money to go purchase it? Dems would go crazy. You have to negotiate stuff. You're not going to do that now. You think you're going to come out and say, hey, everybody, y'all get breaks on Bitcoin. No taxes. Dems know everybody in the Republican cabinet owns Bitcoin. What do you think they're going to vote? They're going to go against it just because in spite, even if it's what's best for your family, for my family, for your business, for the economy, for the state, for the city, for the country, for anybody in the world. We got politics in the middle of the way. And Trump and company know that they can't get ahead of themselves yet because they still have the other side to deal with. So you got to go slow. But we have children out there and they want Bitcoin reserve. And please mention that you're going to buy 800,000 Bitcoin right now, tomorrow. And then tell me we're not going to pay any taxes. And then tell me that this, it's just like you're just children. There are negotiations. There are politics. This does not happen overnight. It will not happen overnight. And if you want to hold Bitcoin because you think you're going to make money overnight, get lost. Not going to happen. You must be patient. So when I bought at 16 and 20 and 18 and 21 and 25, and I was patient. That was a couple of years ago. I'll be patient now. It'll all come together because all roads lead to inflation. All roads lead to stagflation. All roads lead to hyperinflation. All roads lead to another recession. All roads lead to pumping Bitcoin to kingdom come. But there are things going on, and it cannot just happen overnight like that. You children. So it will happen, but they've got to be more methodical about it. I wish they were as methodical about this Bitcoin approach with the way they've done the whole Doge stuff with the government. That's kind of been a disaster. Would have been better, but whatever. Okay, so just another little crypto nugget for you there while that goes on. Anyway, Big O, the last 10, 15 minutes of yesterday's show, you were dropping a nuclear bomb on the McDandy regime. Outstanding, hermano. Thanks for sharing. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome. I just want Tua to stay upright the whole season. That would be the key thing. That would be the key thing right there. By the way, Osmani is just out of control. Osmani Garcia. And let me tell you, folks, right now, a lot of people are looking to pay off credit cards, pay off debt, and they're looking to sell their homes. And some people out there are looking, okay, what's the option? Well, the Omega Home Realty Group and my guy, Osmani Garcia, they've got the 990 program going on right now. And Osmani and the Omega Home Realty Group, by the way, they are the exclusive program director for South Florida and oversee all of Florida. So any of our listeners, you're looking to sell your home, you can sell it for $990. 305-440-1990. And folks, listen, forget about the 6% traditional commission that's out there. You're going to get high-quality professional photography. You're going to get the compelling copy that you need. You're going to have beautiful brochures. You're going to get listings on MLS, Zillow, Realtor.com, and Homes.com. So you're going to get everything that you normally get when they're taking 6%, except it's $990. And then it even gets better. Your $990 agent, Osmani, actively will seek out buyers who may not have seen your listing online. And if they find an interested buyer, they personally show your home. That buyer makes the highest offer. You're only going to pay 2.5% commission. And the $990 fee is waived. So you're eliminating and avoiding the 6%. And you're making more money, which gives you more money to pay more bills, to go on a vacation, to relax, whatever it is. Buy a car, down payment, whatever. Call Osmani Garcia anywhere in Florida. Tell them that Big O sent you. 305-440-1990. That's 305-440-1990 for Omega Home Realty Group and the 990 program. All right. Oh, Commanders are releasing Jonathan Allen. I hope Miami can sign him. That would be nice. That would be a decent fit. That would work out. I would like to see that. Yeah. Let's see where we're at here. By the way, we are at 86,863. Nice little Bitcoin dip here. I don't know who's selling. I don't get it. But, hey, that's just me. Let's get to a little music. On the 7th, let's find out who was, what musicians were born on March 7th. Let's see. Paul Davis. Wow. Keyboardist, English alternative rock band, Happy Mondays. Could be the other Paul Davis, too. Which that Paul Davis you know, that what was it, 69 Love Affair, and man, he had like a couple of mellow songs. That guy never looked like how he sung. But this Paul Davis with Happy Mondays was born in 66. Taylor Dane, She of the Big Lips. Leslie Wonderman, born in the state in 62. Kenny Arnoff, drummer, best known for his sessions with the Stones, McCartney, Sting, Lady Gaga, Pharrell Williams, Lenny Kravitz, Bob Dylan, John Bon Jovi, Elton John, Rod Stewart, Eric Clapton, Dave Grohl, Jack White, Alanis Morissette, Johnny Cash, Avril Lavigne, Stevie Wonder, Alicia Keys, Beyonce. Kenny's kind of a good drummer. Born in 53. Ernie Isley from the Isley Brothers, born in 52 on this date. Matthew Fisher from Procol Harum, born in 46. Peter Wolf from the Jay Giles Band, born in 46. Did you know that he was married to Faye Dunaway? Peter Wolf from Jay Giles? Just a little note there. Chris White, bassist with the Zombies, born in 45. Those are some of the musicians born on this date. Let's go with other famous people born on the 7th. Bryan Cranston, TV actor, is 69. Also celebrating birthday, Jenna Fisher from The Office, 51. Let's see. Sarah Squirm, Saturday Night Live comedian, 32. Wanda Sykes, comedian, 61. Laura Prepon, so underrated in that 70s show. She's 45. It's a tall drink of water right there. Rachel Wise, actress, is 55. John Hurd, the late John Hurd, born on 46 on this day. We lost him in 2017. Jordan Pickford, futbolista, is 31. And that is it. Sean Stanley, do you have any wrestlers born on this date?
Yes, we do. Bruce Pritchard, better known as I Love You. Brother Love turned 62 today. Chase Owens, he's 35. Cody Deaner, 43. Rue Dabona, 49. Tyler Bate turns 28. And a personal one, happy birthday to the wifey on March 7th, 2025.
Nice. There we go. All right, good stuff. Let's go to music history. What happened today on March 7th? In 2010, Bret Michaels found himself explaining his new song, Nothing to Lose, which featured a then 17-year-old Miley Cyrus singing about slowly getting undressed. He said that the lyric is not a reference to her and that the song isn't even a duet. In 75, David Bowie's 9th studio album, Young Americans, saw its UK release. The album featured the hit song, Fame, that would become Bowie's first number one single in America. In 87, the Beastie Boys became the first rap act to have a number one album with their debut effort, License to Ill. It topped the charts. In 2000, men's fashion magazine GQ named Oasis singer Liam Gallagher the best dressed man. In 2006, actor Jared Leto's band 30 Seconds to Mars began their first headlining club tour in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And then he walked up on a skyscraper. That's what happened today in music history. All right. So Post Malone was spotted with his new girlfriend after he left his former fiancée. The F1 Trillion superstar and his ex, with whom he shared a daughter, broke up in late 24. He and his new girlfriend apparently began dating earlier this year, per TMZ. Post and his new girlfriend were spotted together at a bar in a video they shared on TikTok earlier this week and heading to dinner together in Rome to start the year. Can I ask something? Outside of his talent, what's attractive about that guy? How does a woman look at Post Malone and say, he's handsome, gorgeous, fine, whatever? Like, just, aren't you just like seeing Benjamins with a bunch of tattoos on his face? Just, sorry. The guy's talent is undeniable. You know what's also undeniable? He looks like dog shit. He looks like a guy that is sleeping on the floor in New Orleans in Bourbon Street at 5:30 in the morning because he's so wasted. When he smiles, he looks like he needs to go to Moody's Dental badly. I'm just wondering, what woman looks at that guy and says, attractive? Right? That's basically like you met the ugliest man or woman on earth in a bar, and you made sure you went to the darkest room in the world to have sex. I'm just saying, just throwing it out there. It just, I watch it and the presence is undeniable. It is as bum ass as it gets. And I get it. He's super rich and super talented and all of that. But dude, God, I'm reading that story and I'm like, what woman looks at that guy and says attractive? She just says, yeah, pay my bills. And I'll close my eyes while we're having sex. Just, I don't know, dude. I'm going to call it like I see it. Just, wow. It's bad. It's bad. Anyway, by the way, hailstorm is coming August 4th and not coming to South Florida, typical. I will have to drive up to Mid-Florida Credit Union in Tampa to see her August 4th. I love her, man. She's fantastic. She is awesome. Sign a decent vet to back up Tua this year. Better QB. Yeah, I'm sure they're going to get a veteran. I told you, Garoppolo, Dobbs, or Minshew. Minshew could be jumping over Dobbs. I think that's a possibility. If they can't get Garoppolo, I could see you picking Minshew over Dobbs. Because you have to adjust a little bit more with Dobbs because he's not the same. They're going to use his athleticism instead. But Minshew would be a better passer and better in this offense, actually. Better intro, fly like an eagle, eminence front, or roundabout? I'm going to go eminence front. Yeah. Sun shines, people forget. Oh, yeah. What a great song Eminence Front is. God, such a phenomenal song. Let's see. Can we talk in space version of Fly Like an Eagle? I still listen to License to Ill when it came out. I was in 5th grade. Yeah, I'll listen to License to Ill anytime. It's a phenomenal album. A bunch of Benjamins with Sharpies all over them. Exactly, Chase. The money and the fame makes Post Malone look like Brad Pitt to the ladies. I mean, dude. Big O, in hockey, you have the best league in the world, but in soccer, not every time you have something close to good, he's gone. Well, whatever. The male version of Phyllis Diller. What do I think of LeBron confronting Stephen A. Smith on the court about his son? I think that LeBron James is a sensitive little bitch. I think LeBron James has done a major disservice to his son, and we already talked about this. LeBron James is a terrible father in that sense. You need to let your kids make their own way. You don't rig shit for your kids and put them somewhere where they don't belong. And he doesn't belong anywhere near the NBA. He should be in the NBA like you and me, buying a ticket to watch. So if he's too sensitive that everybody's talking about the truth that LeBron's kid has no business in the league and LeBron's pissed off about it, that's his problem. But we've already known that LeBron is a soft little sensitive bitch. So I'm not surprised. And I'm not here to defend Screaming A for anything whatsoever. I wouldn't watch him say anything. I know they just signed them to an extension. I tweeted out one of the main reasons why I barely even watch that channel. The second I see Stephen A come on, brother, I turn that shit off and switch to somewhere else faster than you can take a leak. Okay? All right? I want nothing to do with Stephen A. I think he's a first-class, big-mouth moron. Lazy as hell, doesn't follow shit, doesn't know much about anything outside of basketball when it comes to sports. He's constantly saying shit that's wrong. So for me, Screaming A is a waste. So I'm not here to defend him, but when you're right, you're right. And if he's ripping Bronny's kid, which is, I would imagine, why LeBron approached him, well, then he deserves it. Okay? And LeBron is disgraceful for doing what he did for his kid. Why? You put him in a position where he's going to look like a horse's ass. Let him earn his keep. If he's good enough to get to the NBA, he'll get there on his own. So that's what I feel about it. Okay. So that's where I stand with that, Frankie. All right. What else do we have going on? The FBI. It's a hell of a story going on with the FBI. You guys want to make $10 million? Boy, I get 10 million and I turn 9 into Bitcoin, and 1 million I go have fun with the wife all over the place. All right, there's a $10 million reward for information leading to the arrest of former Olympic snowboarder for Canada who's wanted for allegedly running a multinational drug trafficking network and orchestrating multiple murders related to the drug ring. You see, this is why Trump has the tariffs against Canada. There's a freaking Canadian, just causing havoc down here. We know Canadians are nice, but there's one Canadian that's out of control, Ryan Wedding. So he's brought on the tariffs. I kid, relax. The FBI added Ryan Wedding, 43, to its most wanted list, its 10 most wanted list on Thursday, while also announcing the U.S. State Department's $10 million offer. Wedding went from shredding powder on the slopes at the Olympics to distributing powder cocaine on the streets of U.S. cities and his native Canada. Achille Davis, the assistant director of the FBI's L.A. field office, said the alleged murders of his competitors make Wedding a very dangerous man. Among his aliases, El Jefe, Public Enemy, and James Conrad King. Speaking of LeBron. Wedding was charged in June with murders and drug crimes. Those crimes were augmented in September in the indictment that alleged Wedding and others arranged the shipment of some 60 tons of cocaine a year using long-haul semi-trucks to move the drugs between Colombia, Mexico, Southern California, and Canada. One guy brought the tariffs on Canada. One guy. Telling you. In the announcement in the indictment in October, the FBI said dozens of people have been arrested in connection with the case. U.S. authorities allege the group killed 2 members of a family in Canada in retaliation for a stolen drug shipment in what officials said was a case of mistaken identity, as well as 2 other people, according to officials and federal court filings. Wedding finished 24th in parallel giant slalom in 2002 Olympics. I love how they always finish the story with his stats. After all the crimes, all the people he's killed, all the drugs he's dealt, all the women he's beaten up and whatever. By the way, he played 8 seasons, rushed for 10,000 yards, and scored 477 touchdowns. So you guys want $10 million, you got to find El Jefe. And Canadians, you want the tariffs off? What's wrong with you Canadians? I thought you were nice people. You're bitching and complaining. You're going to cut off power to cities in New York and Michigan and all that. And meanwhile, you got a crazy Canadian all over the U.S. You see, Trump was right about all those drugs coming in. You're saying less than 1%. Ryan Wedding alone is bringing in 99%. And killing. There you go. The tariff king, Ryan Wedding. So now when Canada says, well, you know, Trump is out of order with all of that, there's no drugs, there's nothing going on, Ryan Wedding causing all those problems for all of us, Canadians and Americans. Telling you, come on, Canadians, control your drug dealers. No. It still deprives others with abilities and aptitude. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. The U.S. government holds 198,000 of Bitcoin, which is equivalent to 17.5 billion. Yeah, but they think it may not be that much because they've got to turn some over. So they're only holding it for the moment until the whole lawsuit is settled. It might be like 120 when it's all said, which is still a lot of Bitcoin. But yeah, they'll add, bro. Not worried about any of that at all. All right, folks, we are out of here. We appreciate all of you out there as always. Thank you. If you made a donation to help send us to Spain, appreciate it. Use that QR code there. Of course, if you made a donation, Cash App, Venmo, or PayPal, thank you, thank you, thank you. A super chat, thank you very much. Hit the like button before you go. Hit the like button whenever you listen, watch. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate Sean Stanley. We'll see you Monday morning. Same time, same place, same bat channel.